Hi everybody. Well, as you can see, I got this nifty little Onkyo Integra here, and I'm going to open it up and show you some of the interesting aspects of it. I got a little problem to fix. Having a little bit of problem with the door opening, and when I was in here last time, apparently I knocked out a connector to the front panel. I had a spring that basically broke off, and when I put that back on, okay, so there we go. Now, this is an interesting little unit, and I'll show you why here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to point out to you is this white blob right here. It's right by this Sony chip. This happens to be a crystal oscillator, which you normally see in just as a metal can. But on this one over here, you can see right there, they've taken and put a white damping material on them so that vibrations won't affect the oscillator, because that's one of the issues that was causing problems with CDs. This is an old CD player, but it has some nice features I wanted to show you. Since this is an Integra, it was the high end at the time. I'm not sure when this is from, probably around 88 or 90 or something like that. These three goodies here are optocouplers. You may notice they don't look like the optocoupler chips we have nowadays, but those are to prevent the digital signals from encroaching upon the analog domain. So that's a nice feature. And over here, to my slight surprise here, this chip right there is a 5532 stereo op amp, which were a lot more expensive in the day they made those, but this goes down to 2 hertz. Of course, if the CD had music on it that low, the audio stage. So that's pretty good for the 5532. And you notice this dividing line right down the center here. This is dividing line between the digital and the analog, which you can kind of see a little bit on the camera to the left side there. To keep the circuit separate so you get low noise, and in addition there are several other little details which I don't have handy to show you. There's a on the top of the case there's a piece of damping material on the top inside, and on the bottom of the inside case there's a piece of damping material also. This is just like one of the little niceties you find on some high-end players. This little plate here, this dampening plate, it's a little damping mat. I don't know what you'd call the material. It's sort of soft, but anyway, the idea is to prevent vibration in the things. Vibrations can potentially cause a problem in different ways. It makes the lid seem more solid and potentially stops any vibrations of the lid that could theoretically, though I doubt if it's actually a problem, cause some issues with creating or disrupting magnetic fields in the components and the wires and things because it's a big vibrating piece of metal. So that's a nice feature. And I got to figure out why this mechanism isn't working better. Okay. We'll see if this thing is going to see. It just ain't quite releasing there. Of course, seems to be catching on something. Interesting. Works fine with no CD in it. Alright, so I'm thinking, the only thing I can see, nothing seems to be hanging up really. The thing I can think of is to put a lubrication on the rails, and hopefully this grease is thin enough. Let's put a little bit on these. Now I'm hoping that over time this grease doesn't gunk up the works. If you're doing something like this, of course, you need to make sure you've got a grease that's not going to damage the plastic. Some of them can damage plastic and rubber. Take a quick look under here. Yeah. Those are just fine. They aren't hanging up anything. Oh, we do have another rail down here I can lube though. Get this on the inside here. So I guess not really any repairs other than that on this one, but hey, at least you got to see the insides of a high-end one. This is my only high-end CD player. I've actually got a Parasound, but just on quality output from the analog jacks. This one definitely beats out the Parasound, especially in the bass. This one doesn't have an optical output, so I can't compare that aspect to the Parasound CD player, but from the digital outputs, or I mean from the analog outputs, this one sounds better, since this is quite a bit older technology than the Parasound.